Mm, yesterday
All
we
right.
actually yesterday we actually placed the we placed these uh, um, floor plans, elevations, column sections, column elevations, column sections, bar bending schedules. We place them on on sheets. We place them in Prota detail.
I'm unable to see the screen.
Oh,
Have you shared the screen? Because I'm
sorry,
unable
sorry,
to
sorry.
see
Let
from
me
my
share it
end.
now. Sorry, I didn't share it before. I'm sharing it now. Okay, pretty sure that you'll be able to see me now. So, unfortunately, yesterday when I went to my Prota details, I forgot to save. So, one way in which you can try to uh, locate your files is if you go to your documents. Usually, Prota will have all its information in the documents folder here. So when you go to documents, you see if you've tried to install Prota 20, whatever versions you find them here. I have Prota 2021, but it doesn't work. So I'll go to my Prota 2018, and then I'll try to look for that drawing. Let's see, what drawing was it? It's Project Monster Double Story, whatever. So you go here, you try to find Project Monster. As you can see here, there's nothing. So you try in 31 days there. No, not that one. You try in where can it be? Here in the Remnant Church. Someone is trying to join. Oh, okay. Yeah, Paul. Hope you're doing okay. So where we are at the moment currently, we've opened our Prota structure, and then I was saying that after we took our information to Prota details, I forgot to save that file as a separate file. But what I can do is I can try to look for it. So I was saying with all documents, with all Prota documents or all Prota information, after having installed it, you'll find them in the document section of your local disk or your computer. So for example, you can either go into my PC, you go into local disk C, then you go to, I think that information is with users. I know my username is there, and then I'll go to documents like that, and then I'll find it. Alternatively, with if you're using Windows 11, you'll find it there. So what I'll do is I'll go to 2018, and then I know it's saved in this Remnant Church, and then it's Musa, isn't it? Yeah, Project Monster double story, what, and then I'll try to check for exported files. So it's not here. Usually when you export from project details, you find it here. And then these are all the other project documents and project files. So for example, and folders. For example, when you click on this image of the thumbnail, it shows you, and it also shows you the previous time that it was saved. So for this one, this was around the time that we stopped. It was about 10:54. It went for a long time. Yeah. So you can see 10:54, 10:54, 10:54. So since it wasn't saved, it's also got some sub 2000 information, some finite element method 3D, and some reports if you were saving reports. There was one that we did on the column that time. So not to waste much time since we're already behind, what I would do is I'll just load my Prota again, and then I'll go to concrete design, and then I'll load Prota details. Yeah, we already put the slab strips, and we also put the sections. As you can see, there's a section, there's a section, there's a section, there's a section. If you are using some steel, you'd have to go to steel and then you load Prota steel. But since we've been using concrete, we'll load Prota details, and there you can see it. It's orange in color. Prota structure is reddish. Prota details is or maroon, either reddish or maroon. Prota structure. Details is orange or goldish, and then Prota steel is green. So that's the suit. So I don't know, here it gives the name, but then the information that we did from last time, let's see, when you go to drawings, it's not saved. You see? So what that means is you would have to redo everything that we did. So I'll do it very quickly. If you'd like to like watch a video that is far much slower, I would recommend that you go and watch the one from day 18. So I'll start by saying start by creating a new drawing, and then I'll this is like a tree, this drop downs, you see. So when you have this information, you gain your information of the drawing. What you do, detail drawing manager, then okay, I'll cancel this. What I'll do is I'll go to form plans, and then I'll right click and I'll select draw form plans, and then I want to insert it to a sheet. I do not want it to show column dimensions, that would be too much. Okay, I'll leave hatch, and then if there are any other options that I would want, show number of bars in bar label, too much information, I do not want it to be cluttered in one area, and I'll put it on an A1 sheet and I'll scale it 1 to 50. So when I click draw there, it disappears, then it brings me to this white space, the model space, the work area, and then I'll click like that, and then it will insert everything. It will insert it for me on a sheet, on an A1 sheet, like that. And then I'll do the same for, so right click again, we only have one option. You go to column application plans. This is like the column sections. Right click, you say draw column, it sets on an A1, it's scaling 1 to a 20. If you would like it to scale to a different size, you specify. It ticks all the floors. You say draw, you give it some time, and then if you like you can align them like that. You click, it gives you this column section views, like how when you cut a column and you look at the top. Hey, what happened? It's not showing. Okay, because it didn't show, I'll just redo that. And when I redo that, it will have two ticks, meaning I've placed it twice. Here it's only got one green tick, but since the first tick, the first tick didn't show, I have to redo it. I don't know, maybe I didn't align it properly. So now you see it's got two ticks this side, and then it puts on an A1 sheet. It gives you all this information such as the hook length, the stirrup or the link length, gives you the column dimensions, and it gives you that 100 eccentricity. It shows you the clips, the column arrangement, column orientation, and then it also numbers. Remember we say when it says 1C1 means uh, column 1 on the first story, or first story column 1, 1C26, like that. These haven't been labeled properly because we deleted some, we changed some. So usually in Prota, it would do that. If you inserted one column and you delete it, it would, when you insert another one, it won't give it that name. It will give it a new name. So if you want to change that, you change it in Prota and you relabel that column, so that if you want to have a certain level of consistency, you do that. But for me, since I can always reference, I can go to 1C1, 1C26, 1C27, I'll just go to that column number and then it will show me. So part of the things that I was saying, where I was saying that sometimes Prota loads class, it clutters things together. You can see. So some of this information is overlapping. So when you start detailing, you can change that information and put it separately. And I'll show you how to do that. Usually I use AutoCAD. If you like, you can use right here when you select, you can move. You see these are selected. You can go to your move option. I think there should be a move function. Here there is copy, there is cut. Can't see move, but it's here somewhere. Just that this interface really I do not like working in it. Alternatively, you can go to I guess tools or modify. Here is your move, and then you can be able to move it. For example, you click, you do that, and then you can move it there. Because I know this is for this. This link is for this column, and then I'll put it there. I know that because the orientation. This one the orientation is landscape. This one the orientation is portrait. And then as far as the clips, I know these are the same, so I can get either one of them. Go to modify, move, to move. Then I'll put it there because I do not want this information overlapping. I can't see it anymore. Exactly why I do not like to use our Control Z to just undo or use that option. Where is it? I can't see it anymore. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just delete this, and then you see it goes back to my 1T, and I'll draw it over again. It says A0. I do not want A0. Let me move out. Right click, choose A1, okay, draw, like that. I'll click, and you can see that there is the information all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for 5 floors, for 5 levels. And then you can see some of it is overlapping. I'll move it in AutoCAD. So I have that. I can also draw the column elevations. For example, draw column elevation. I'll put it on an A1 sheet, insert to sheet, draw, and then it shows me the columns cutting and elevation manner, where it will show me the levels. You remember we said that Prota will not give you section views in order to determine which level. It will only give you elevation marks. Like for example, if this is my ground level, I know that my foundation, my stub column is minus 1.2, and then depending on the thickness that I used for the footing, if it's a 300, I know the bottom of the footing will be 1.5, and then there it shows me that there's a 200 step, and then I've got my starter bars there and so on and so forth, like that. And there, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, that's a lot. Even for the roof there, it shows that it will span from 6 to 7, and so on and so forth. So I have that. You can see for the first, for the second, for the third, it's marked. For the fourth, for the fifth, everything has been marked. So in addition to drawing column elevations, I can draw the column schedules. Column schedules become really useful if you do not want to see the column elevations. You can do a quick study of the column schedule, and you know what kind of columns you have on each floor. So this appears in a table, and the table has been tabulated in such a way that the levels here match the levels here. So here I've got 1 2 3 4 5. Here I've got 1 2 3, 4, 5. Also, the goodness of renaming in the building setout, I can see the names here, so I do not have to struggle. So it will show me that on the ground floor, I've got these kinds of beams, and if they appear more than once, it shows that 1C2, 2C2, 2C26, 3. It shows that, okay, so this, the way that it appears here, it's also on the second, it's on the third, it's on the fourth, it's on the fifth, and so on and so forth, as opposed to having to look for them just like that over here. So this comes really in handy. So after having done that, you can now do your column, or you can do your beam elevations, and there you can see it says all axes. So where they span, yeah, 25. Oh, okay. So where they span from, you'll be able to see, and then you can read your column, your beam elevations like that. The elevations actually come with some sections. So in addition to having beam elevations, you also have beam sections. For example, here there's a beam spanning from B to H. Let's go to our floor plan. Let's see where B to H is. B to H is this beam here. I don't know why the other one hasn't been included, but okay. B to H. Also, you can dimension in Prota if you like. Just go. If you want to dimension in the y direction, you click that one. And then you can say from there to there. It gives you, that's about 24.1. You remember those points 1.1s that we were having. And then from there to there, you got that. That's about 600. Like that. So really, if you're not big on AutoCAD, you can still be able to have, present your work using Prota details like that, and then and so on and so forth. I just find AutoCAD far much quicker. So let me just save this before anything happens, and I'll say okay. As I was on save, it showed me which file format I can save in. I automatically went for DWG. So since we've drawn, oh, so B to H, we know it's this span B to H. So I can go to my drawing. Yeah, I can go to my beam elevation here, and I'll be able to know that from B to H, it actually gives me this 3, 5, 2, so on and so forth. It shows me the column, the anchorage method, the fixed end, whether it's fixed end or it's a continuous beam, it will show you see that information. So already here it cuts. I know that it continues. You see this, but here I can see that this is a fixed end. And then whether it's simply supported, that's up to you if you remember your mechanics. And then there it shows you some sections. Like here it cuts at 1, it calls it 0.7. 2, it cuts. So on the right or below, there's that 1, the 0.711. This is the 0.711. You can see it shows you this cross section, 0.722, and so on and so forth. And then there's your A to B. I think it cuts like in that way because of the paper size that we had selected. So the paper size that we had selected was A1. Probably if it was an A0, it would have continued. But this works beta, right? So there you can see your 5,000, and it gives you the beam, the beam mark. I know it's on 3, and it's B5. If I need to reference it, I can go here. This is 2, 3, and then B5. Oh, I won't be able to see it here. I'll see it here. This is 2, and then this is 3, and then I can search for 3B5. This is 3B15, Oh, another way that you can use to check for it was, it says 3B5, doesn't it? This one says 3B5. I know it's A to B. So I'll just go to my 3 5 A to B. This is my A to B. I know it could be either, yeah, this one. No, this one says 3B17. Which one could be 3? This is 3 AB. It also is AB. This one also is AB. This is 3B35. 3B. Here's my 3B5. Still on A to B. Just that. Oh, 7. You remember that 07. We should have worked with that because it shows that AB, and then we've got this information that says 7 axis 7. So if you're trying to look for a different beam, for example, I know this is 5B5. What is it? It's also on axis 7, right? Let's try to go to here. Let's try to just locate it easy. It's on E to C. E to C, axis 7, 5B38. So I go to the fifth level. This is the fifth level. And then it's saying E to C, right? Where's my E to C? E to C is here and it's on 7. So there's my 5B38. So that's how you identify these beams if you are reading. Okay, hope that that is clear. We've drawn the beam elevations. What we can do, it also gives you this end span, interior span, another end span, single span, cantilever shows you the details, the bottom and length, how it reads. So we've got this information, cool, and we've drawn it. How you know you've drawn it? Because it's ticked. No, it's double ticking. I have no idea. So we've drawn the beam elevations. Now time to draw the footing. You can either draw one by one or you can draw all of them at once. Let me just escape, come out of the command. I expected for it to ask me this. So I can draw one by one or I can draw all of them at once. I'll choose all of them at once. I do not want to waste a lot of time. I'll place them on an A1 sheet. If I like, I can generate a sheet list. I do not want. I'll draw and then I can put it anywhere. I'll put it here and there's my footing, or those are my footings. If we count them on the foundation plan here, let's try to count them. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I expect to have 24 here also. I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And then it shows me that it's just one mat, that they are singly reinforced. Their doubly would have another mat there at the top. And then there goes Prota, not detailing properly, puts everything in one like that. But here it details properly. And then it also gives you a bar bending edge, properly calculated. If you know how to calculate the cut length bar bend, you can confirm. It shows you if you're using Y16, the unit weight is 1.58. There's a formula that says d squared over 162 times L gives you the unit weight according to the density of steel. That's where the 162 came from. So if you say 16 times 16 times 16 times 16 divided by 162 times 1 meter, we assume it's 1 meter, we've got there 1.58. There's the 1.58. And then now if you multiply it by the cut length is the accumulation here. If you if you if you add all these, you should have this length in meters because this is millimeters. So as an example, why am I opening my word? Let me just close my word there. So here, remember we've got this number 1.58. it's also here. So here, just to prove that Prota is actually quite smart, we'll say number one here, bar mark 1, it's got 1650 plus 1550 plus 1450 plus 1350 plus 1150. It's that divided by 1000. Oh, but we weren't doing the quantity. So divided by 1000, you have that. But that's wrong because you weren't multiplying by the quantity. So for example, actually you needed to get these totals. So the quantity, for example, bar mark 1, the diameter is 16, and therefore it's got 16 quantities. How it has 16 quantities here, you count, like, for example, all the ones that say 111. This is bar mark 3, bar mark 2, bar mark, find bar mark 1 here. If you count all these, it says they are about 16. And therefore, what that means is when you multiply the 16 quantity times the 1650, you have 26,400. When you divide that by 1000 to change from millimeters to meters, that's where that 26.4 is coming from. So you add 26.4 plus 91.45 plus 81.20 plus 151.20 plus 96.60. There's that 446 points. They've rounded off to 1. And then when you multiply this, the total length times the unit weight, it should give you the kgs, 1.580. And therefore, there's your 706. You're saying 706.1. So that's in kgs, the weight of the steel. If you're a person that's used to working in steel, working with steel in tonnage, you divide it by 1000, and then it gives you 0.71 tons. In order for you to reinforce these bases, you need 0.7 or 700 kgs. So that's that for the footing. However, let's not forget our primary. One other thing that we have that we haven't done is the staircase. So how you generate the staircase, but before I generate, let me just have the dimensions prior, like beforehand. For example, from this leg, from that step to this step, what has it changed? It's using a very, oh, let me use dimensions. I'll use this one. And then I'll say this one is 1200. Very big. I don't know why it's so big. Oh, even here they're big. Even from here to here, where? Here. Also 1200. And then this space, all of this information will become very useful. You'll see why. This becomes 400. I'll put it here. I also need to know my landing. My landing is from somewhere there to there. It gives me that information. 1511. I'll actually just reduce it. Is that the landing though? Yeah, it is. So I know my landing width. I know my landing length, which is essentially just this 1 2 times 2 plus the 400. Let's see, you got 1200 times 2 plus the 400 in the middle. It gives you 2800. So this is the 2800 we have. How about one riser? How much is the, or a trade? What is the size of the trade? It's from there to there. I expect it to be something like, it's 260. Okay, cool. So I know my trade. How about my riser? I cannot see the riser from this angle. I can see it from the section. But mind you, the section seems as if it's got some sketching, some towel, whatever. So I'll measure it from there to somewhere here. This is where I think the concrete is. We didn't select. From there to there, it says 170 for the riser and 280 for the tread, right? So now having this information that I have, I can go back to my Prota details and I can click this stairs option. There's this other steel facade scaffold. This Prota details is it's actually quite advanced. Just that I only use it when I need to finish. I use it as a finish. You can create your link, even your pitch foundations, your shear wall elevations. It can give you all that nice stuff. So when you click on stairs, it gives you these double armed. We've got the load bearing, we've got the spiral stairs. So you choose which one. We are using these dog leg stairs here, the double armed stairs. And how is my stair supported? If I look at my structure drawing, I have it supported here, here, and here. So three sides, right? On this side of the wall, where there's actually going to be like a beam or yeah, it's a beam, just slanted beam. Then the landing will be anchored here and there. So I know it's supported on three sides, minimum at least two sides, there and there. But for this one, I know for a fact it's three. So here it shows me that it's supported on the outer edge, supported by two outer edges, and then supported by three outer edges. Remember, mine is supported by three outer edges. Remember, so I'll click there, and then what am I going to do? I'll start changing the information. So my story height, we were modeling, was at 400. Let's go to our section view. We check. This is 3 4. This is the top. This is 400. So from 0 to it's actually 3000. So here I'll change my information. I'll say my story height is at 3000. How wide is my uh, staircase? And if you're unsure of where which width is being referred to, in the bracket there is B. So when you check there's that B and that B. So meaning for each leg, remember we're finding, was that 1 2? Here there's let's see, yeah, 1 2 1 2 for each. So I know I'll go back to my photo details. Close enough. This one says 1250. So I'll enter 1200. And then it says landing width. Where's my landing width? It's specified as BSK. So here my BSK, how much was it? It's 1500. I'll go there. I'll say 1500, and then I'll enter. And then it says intermediate landing with BSA. Which is my intermediate landing with BSA? I don't know. Is BSK? Oh, then the other one. Maybe on the ground floor there. Can you say? Can you say 0? Cannot. So then which one is being referred to here? Because I have this one. If I start there, I land there. Or maybe on the other side also. I'll maintain it as 1 5 because that one. I'll maintain this one also as 1500, like that. And then plate thickness says DK. Plate thickness for the stair, I think that's like the slab, the stair slab. I'll say it's the same size as uh, the thickness of the slab. So I'll say it's 120 150. This one is 180, it's too much. Also the landing, I'll give it 150 to clash with the suspended slab. And then stair hole BK is the one that we found to be 400, if you remember. Number of steps, you can count them in total. Actually, we do not need to count them. The architect has specified as they are 20. When you go like that, 10 this side, 10 this side, 11. Or actually, this one begins first. So 11 this side and 10 that side. So you go there, you say 20, right? Step width, we calculated the step width as being 260. Or the trend. Let's see, where am I? I'm here. It defines it as A, step width, although I cannot see my A. The trend. Because here you've got step height, the rise. So my width is 260. Here it's 280. And then step rise, the riser, how much was it? It was 170. So I'll go there and I'll say 170. Additional dead loads, I'll maintain the default 1.5, 3.5 for dead and live. Support with BM. Which one is it support with? Here it doesn't show. Support height, HM doesn't show. It doesn't show. I'll maintain this and then I'll say design. And then it gives me all the information provided required reinforcement millimeter squared, the quantity, diameter. It's using my Y8. If you like, you can change them to say Y10 or 12. I'll maintain Y8. That's good for me. And then it gives you draw rebar underneath, draw rebars on plan, rotate rebar, insert quantity table, so on and so forth. And then ultimately I'll say detailed drawing. And then I can put my stair right here. And then when I zoom in there, it shows me all of that information that I was looking for, that I was including, like that. So now I have my stair according to those dimensions. 2, 2, so a total of 3, 4, 1, 5, 2, 6. It also gives you a quantity table there. There's a section in BB there. So now, once this is done, you can control S to save. And then, if you want to print directly from here, let me show you how you go about it. I think I actually did show that in the other drawing, in the other class, yeah. So it saves it. If you'd like to maintain, if this is good for you, you can just go to print. You can either go to file, say print. It gives you this paper size, and then you want your plot margins to be millimeters. In center, I want it to be landscape, but I do not know what kind of paper size this is. So I'll go to, and I want it to be full, not partial. I want it to be in grayscale, and then there's my paper size. I can select it. It only has one A3, depending on your printer. Okay, so you select printer. You see this one is using Microsoft Print to PDF. The thing about Microsoft Print to PDF is that only the largest paper you can select is A3. That's why we cannot locate A3. So I use Foxit. Foxit Reader has got papers as far as A1, I think. So when I select, I go there. Now you can see that I've got a range up until, let's see if I'll be able to find my A1 sheet. You can see F4, you can see my E. Oh, I can only just see an A3 also here. I'm surprised. Alternatively, can you see A1? I can see A1. Alternatively, if you know the dimensions of your A1, you can change. It's 8 what? 840 what? The size is of an A1. So when you go to, it's 841 by 594. So you can go there and say paper size. Google will always help you. A1. It will show you that an A1 is 841 594. That's what I said, right? Okay. So there now you can customize. You say you want it to be 841, and then this side you want it to be 594, and then you can say window, and then you pick like that, and then depending on the margins, if you want that pink also, for me I'll just go for this and this. Actually, maybe it would be necessary to have that pink after all. Anyway, it ends here, and as soon as you do that, got all that other information. You say center, you want it to be a landscape. Why is it? But when you say partial full, a scale to fit, grayscale, landscape, portrait. Ah, guys, how about upside down? No, I think, okay, let me just select the landscape. Let me pick again. I'll pick from there to there. Okay, partial full. Okay, let me deselect that and pick again. Exactly why I don't choose. You go, but let me get it right this time. Center. Ah, now everything is just 0, 0. Okay, I've got extents from there to there. Hey, all of it has disappeared now. Maybe because I haven't selected it. Update, full, select printer. Let's go back to my Microsoft print. A1. No, we're not going to custom. Drawing units. Printer units 1. The drawing units will also be 1. If I waste too much time here, I'm big landscape. Ah, guys, let's not waste so much time here. I'll just show you what I do. I export. So, hmm? So I will export DW as DWG. When I export it like that, when you go to export, you select. Oh, okay. So here it's asking me, where do you want to export? Remember, the default is the documents. For example, when you say change the directory, you can see that the default is the documents folder here. Because we're working in that 2025 March Madness, I'll change it to my desktop. I'll say desktop, and then I'll find the folder there, teaching material. Remember, it was in the 30 days.
I can't see the screen.
Oh, you can't see screen. Let me go back and try. Okay, I'll stop and then I'll start sharing the screen again. Hopefully you can see it now. Please confirm. Can you see the screen? Oh, can you see the screen? Maybe.
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay. So remember, file, export, export DWG gives you whether you want which version of DWG, either a latest version or later version will maintain the 2010. And then I'll change the directory because I do not want it to go to a default directory. My directory where I'm saving all these materials on the desktop, and it's in a folder that says 2025. So I haven't passed it already. Not that one at the top, it's this one. 25 March Madness in the teaching material, 30 days. Remember the architect's drawing, and then I'll save it, and then I'll say export like that. If you like, you can rename, but for me, I'll maintain as is. So now I have this information, and then you see it opens, it's there, drawing one, and then there I can go like that, and then now I can be able to put this on my template. I recommend that you guys begin to play around and create your own template. So for me, there's a template that I use. For example, there was one that I was using here when I was doing this work. In the DWGs, this is my template. I always use it. So since this is a different name, remember we're calling this as means or something something. So we'll go in there, I'll paste my template in here, and then I'll change the name. Just call it 01 means double story residential. And why I like working in this template is because I've done quite a number of projects before, and sometimes I make revisions. So when I go to the model space, I have some details already. For example, I have this strip footing detail. I don't need to recreate it. If I was working in here, I do not have anything here. I just have the information that you know, that I was working in. But I've got a lintel detail, I've got a partial. What else do I have? I've got some of this steel information, the apex, the what. This is according to that drawing that we did. So what I'll do is I'll copy this in here. I'll select everything, and then I'll say clipboard, copy with base point. I'll click there, and then I'll say I'll go in here, and then I'll paste like that. And you can see it asks me for an insertion point. Already I can see it there, so I'll click there. When I click it there, I give it some time, and there's all the information that we're working in. I want it to be slightly above so that it can maintain. So I'll go there, select my author, put it somewhere there. And so you can see that I've moved it. In that way, when I draw my triangle, a rectangle or a square, whatever, if I draw it like that, and then I can copy some of the information of here, and you see, So this one still within the limits, like that. And then now I can start putting on this paper, on the paper layout. But for the sake of this, I'll control it. For the sake of this example, since some of you do not have your own templates, let me show you what you can do. I'll go back to that drawing that we just exported, right? And then I'll try to dimension. Ooh, you when you go to your annotate, you select the text that you want to use. For example, if you want your text to be Arial, regular, like that, the standard, okay, it's good. You maintain that. And then when you go to your dimension section there, you select, okay, if you're using a standard, it's like that. And then you can modify this. The color, if you want it to be red, also the extension lines to be red, even the text, extension suppress, and so on and so forth. Symbol and arrows there, the arrow size 2.5. Your text, you want it to be red also, and it will be using the standard or area narrow. You can select whatever it is. Let's see how area narrow looks like. Yeah, that looks actually, it looks good. You can feed primary units 0 precision. I only want it to show 1. What else? Okay, so this is good. So since I had forgone dimensioning in details, project details, I'll now dimension in AutoCAD like that to there, like that. I know already that my text is small. If I double click, I can see it there, but I know it's small. So what I can do is I can right click or right click, go to properties. I can change the properties of this dimension. The text section there says it's 1. I do not want the text to be 1. I want it to be maybe match this one at the top. So maybe I can compare. I'll select this properties. I know the text for this one is 250. So if I'm playing around with 250, this one they will be similar, right? If I go to properties, text, I give it a 250. I'll do that. Now I can see it. And then the arrow size also, I can have it at 250. I'll go to arrow size and have it at 200. Select. Now I can see. Network. Anyway, it's recording. So you do the same from there to there. Like you can have your snap on like that. You can dimension all of them like that, like that. Dimension them like that. Okay. You dimension from there to there.
The screen has gone. Can't see.
Oh, it will come back. I think maybe just because of the network. Let me know once you see it like that, and then I'll make an overall dimension. Still can't see me?
No, it's
Okay. Let me turn it off and on. The network had gone. Then share entire screen. Now hide. So I was just showing you how to dimension. As you can see, when I was changing the properties, I only changed for this one. So now I don't need to go there and change one by one. I can just copy the properties like that, like that, like that, and then now everything matches, right? You can dimension on this side also, and then if you do not want to, like, anyway, you see these dimensions are maintained, but you can change them to match the dimensions. These are dimensions from Prota Details, so you can do that to match what you've already done, like that. So now, to save yourself a lot of work, you do not need to do the dimensions on these sections. You can just copy like that. You copy this. I'm showing you the tricks that I use. You can come up with your own. I'm known for to my tricks as Mundia. So now I'll copy the point as my A. So when I copy, I'll select this. I'll turn off my snap. I'll go and paste that A there like that, and then you see that everything is in line. I'll go at A also, paste, everything is in line. A, A, like that, and so on and so forth. If you created other dimensions, you copy them also along like that. And then just to clean it up, because you want to present this work to so that it looks clean, looks good, it's legible, so that everyone can be able to read. So this is intruding in this. You can just move it. I know it belongs to this section here. I'll put it here. Right? This can remain there. Also, I know that this, and you don't forget those two dimensions like this one and this one. It's part of the link, and this one. So now I can copy like that, then I'll put everything here, and everything has moved, right? I haven't left anything behind. And then this will be for that. You go through your drawing. If there's any confusion, you clear it up like that. But do not change these labels. If you change these labels, you'll be confusing now people. Because now when you change labels, meaning you are changing also on the beams. Unless if you can change on the beams. Yeah, so don't change the labels. So now when you do that, you can go to your layout here. And then you can change on page setup. You say modify. No extents in drawing could be set what. So you say you want your high quality. In fact, before you even go to page setup, while it's on the layout 0 there, just go and then template. Revit comes, sorry, not Revit. The network. So AutoCAD comes with some templates, some pre-existing templates. And then if you wish to save some, you can save them in here. I know mine is there, but I won't choose this one for this video. I'll choose something like metric architecture there, a very simple one. Or if you like, you can use this one. That's a little more advanced, but it's in imperial, imperial, whatever. You can still maintain it. Can you see my screen?
Oh,
You can see it.
yeah,
Yeah. So
okay.
I was saying on layout
I,
there.
I still can't see the screen.
Oh, sorry, you cannot see the screen. And it's about to cut very soon, but I'll share the new link with you. Let me just show you how you can so a default drawing in AutoCAD will come like this. So when you right click it, you can load some of the presets or the templates that come with AutoCAD once you install it. For example, there it says ISO card. You can check, but none of these are very good looking. And the iCAD ISO, if you like, you can load it. Layout one, you check it out there. It doesn't come with any title block. If you like it or you'd like to create your own title block, you can go ahead. For me personally, I would much rather use one of these, either the tutorial, the imperial architectural, or the metric architectural. This imperial architecture is the one that I used to use. Yeah, so this imperial architecture is the one that I used to use before I devised this one. So I'll go to imperial architectural. I'll say OK. This is layout. You say OK. This you can delete because you won't be using it. it's very useless. This one is more useful. You see, it's got all that. It gives you a title block. When you check your settings now, page setup, you can modify, and then you can put it as a high quality print there, and then you can say maybe grayscale, monochrome, whichever. I'll say monochrome, and then I'll choose my A1 sheet now. A1 landscape like that, and then I do not want the extents, I want the layout, and I want it in landscape. And then when I say preview, you'll be able to see it's cutting. Mm, expected. So when you say okay, like that, you can see that it's cut. So what you can do, you can you can scale it downwards or upwards like that. You just eyeball it so that it's on the A1 sheet, and then you move it like that, put it there. Don't go outside of those extents, because if you go outside of those extents, it won't be able to print. Okay, now let me preview this, but before that I control S. It saves. Now you can say print, and then a preview. You can see now that it's not cut. You can do a better job. You can see this side is bigger, this side is small. So you can do yourself a better job as you are seated, you play around with it. And then when you say okay, you can see that we are in, this is called a viewport. When you click on it, it's called a viewport because this is where you change now, you scale your model space to your paper space. So when you double click inside the model space, here you can see it changes to model. When you click outside, it goes. You double click, it's, oh, it's finished. Session has finished. Let me load a new one. Start BT. Did I share the link? Copy link. Mm, I'll paste this. Now to go to groups. Then I'll say send. And I'll say new link. I'll wait for people to come in. Can you please close the door for me? Let's give it some time. Anyway, guys, it seems as if there's a problem. I'll continue. To finish up, you have to watch. So I'll show you how to put this template on an A1 sheet, and then I was explaining the differences between these other lines and this other one. For example, when you click here, nothing happens, but there's a designated viewport here that comes as a preset. If you like, you can delete it, but remember, go to viewport and then you can draw it, either a rectangular one or what, and you see it will give me the same designated color. Hopefully it gives me blue. It doesn't give me blue, it's okay. Someone is requesting to join. Yeah, so like I was saying, Here, this I can select it. It gives me why it wasn't like that. You can name it as a viewport. I think I showed that. So for example, I delete if it didn't come, if your sheet didn't come with your viewport, don't be discouraged. Just go to this viewport, you select rectangular, you select the extents of your viewport, and then when you do that like that, you have your viewport. So when you double click inside the viewport, you can see that certain things here they change. So for example, you've got this lock thing. When you click your lock, when you zoom, it doesn't change. But when you unclick, you see that the scale, this is the scale. You see scale of the selected viewport. It changes. It's going either inside or outside. So for example, when I double click my mouse button there, I have, oh, you cannot see the screen, can you? I forgot. Hopefully you can see it now. So I mean here, this is these are some of the drawings that I want to. So for example, when I select maybe 1 to 100, I do not know why I cannot locate the, I don't know if it's this here. Okay, let me say 1 to 100 here. Still, this report is not good. I'll delete. I try to go back to the one that I deleted initially. Remember, it was the color blue. So there's my viewport. I double click. Right now it's locked. I unlock it. I double click the mouse button. Still I cannot see my, okay, the other one there, the layout gives me this. Double click. Still I cannot find my drawings. Why? Okay, go to my model, double click. Also they disappear here. And it's only got these. Where is the rest? This looks different, right? But I was using, anyway guys, I'll close this, say no. I'll go back to the place where it was this one, right? You click it. It's interesting, when I double click it disappears. Okay, I'll do that. I'll use this zoom. I'll select which zoom I want. Zoom window. So I want this window. Again, zoom window. No, it's giving me different. Pardon? Okay, let me just follow it. I don't know what's happened, but what I'll do is I'll follow it in, I'll follow it in Prota documents. I'll go to my 2018, and then, but before that, let me delete the unwanted one, which is Was it not even here anymore? Desktop, teaching material, presenters. Then this is the one. Let's import or delete it. It's very useless. How can you do delete it? No. Let me go here and delete this. I'll go to my documents and then to my Prota 18. I know I was saving it in here, here, exported. It's also not here. I'll go to export again, export. Hopefully I find it in here this time. Still, where does it come? Here. The time says 10:08, 10:08. If I open it, it's there. If I zoom like that, it disappears. I have no idea. Okay, let me not try to double click. I'll just go in the layout there. I'll delete this. I'm actually even tired. I'll change the page setup here, modify it. I'll say high quality. I'll use my A1, full bleed A1. Where is it? This one. I'll say layout, okay, scale 1 to 1. Cool, landscape, okay. And close. Here I'll delete this, add a new viewport, rectangular, like that. And then when I enter, I want to zoom maybe 1 to 100, but I actually cannot see any. Anyway, since this is failing, let me just use my templates. So what I'll do is I'll go to 1 to 100 there, and then this is from the previous. What we'll do is we'll change the client's name and say Musa. Okay, and then the title, we'll name it as proposed construction of double story residential house for Musa. Okay, you move out, and then in this viewport you zoom out, you find one of these drawings, then you scale them to 100, and then you have that. So actually we can have as much. Okay, so I'll delete this, and then I'll increase this. Remember, I already have a title block, so I do not need this other title block here. I can just go in and delete this. Then I can move this closer, like that. and then I'll delete this here also, then I'll move it closer like that. So when I go to my 100 here, and then I can have two drawings. I can even have four drawings in one sheet. So I can scale them like this. This one I'll move it closer. I'll use my auto. Then I'll move this there. Move it closer to save space. And then here, A100, you can see that we have this information. So while I'm in my snap node there, I'll go like that, and then I'll copy this. But before I copy it, let me move it. The viewport is here. I'll just move it like this, like that, and then I can copy it, meaning I'll have my that, enter, and then here I can have the other sets for the ring beam here, meaning I'll have four floor plans on one. Delete that, move this like that, and then I'll delete this also, and then I'll move this here, and also the reinforcement schedule, can move it here, and then this I can move it closer like that, put it somewhere here, so that when I go back to my S1 I have this kind of a drawing. And then that's that. Here the information I can change it as project code, monster, structural drawings, ACL. Can give it a date today. Today is the 19th, 03/25, floor plans, and so on and so forth. Can say MC, MC, okay, and then from there I can print preview. Put this here. I'll print preview like that. ISO full bleed preview. Then I have something like this, and I'll print it, and then my designation will be here, here, and call it architectural, and give it a folder. Say PDFs, PDFs, and then I'll call it S100 or 01 S100, and then okay. So this is what you have now. It's on the title block. You can give it dimensions, and then everything will be okay. So this is how it will look like. Oh, you're still here. And then you can send it to wherever it
Yes.
is, your client or who. Yeah. So do you have any questions on how to move it?
Um, I think that I just have to try.
Yeah, no, you just have to try it for
Use it
presentation.
your own thing. Yeah, I think I'll just try.
Yeah. Okay, we can keep this video short. If there aren't any questions, I'll just upload it quickly and share it in the group so that you can be able to review it.
I I just make some changes to the drawing. I think let me just share because I can't share the screen. I need to
Okay, you can share your screen, but I cannot hear you clearly. You sound as if you're far.
edit because it's raining and I'm
Oh,
using AirPods.
okay. You can share your screen. Let me stop sharing mine and then you can share yours.
No, I'm using my phone, so the drawing is on the PC. So I just send the pictures. I think in the group.
Okay, you want us to work on them right now?
No, I just want you to review the drawings, the same pictures that I made.
Okay, okay. Send them now if possible, and then we can review them right here. Okay, let me check what's up. Hmm, how come? Okay, I see them now. Oh, oh. Let me share
So,
my screen.
so when I look at the drawing,
When you look at the what?
uh, when I looked at the architecture drawing, I saw on the balcony.
Mm. Let me look at it also.
Okay,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. This one here. Yeah,
you
yeah,
see,
yeah, yeah. This is the ground floor. This is the
drawing is all the way. Oh, yeah, there. It goes up to 4 and 4 there.
That's true. That's a very good observation. Let me see. Let me put this one back to back with the Prota. And then we go to the first floor. For us, it goes up to H. Mm. H. And then we got at E there up to H, the beam. Also, for us, we ended up to 5.
Uh,
5.
Right.
But this beam system works. So for them, when they're designing, yeah, it has to go inside. From 3, so there are 3, it has to go like that, and then go like that, like that. Then this area will be a balcony. I see. How about on the ground floor? Yeah. Mm. And then at 4 it goes, then it goes inside. Oh, Okay, let me have a look at your drawings also. You're right. This section, right?
Yes.
Mm, so it goes inside. You place some columns here.
I think yeah, check the plan here,
Okay, let me check it out.
the other picture.
Oh yeah, you place the column at this is A B
I think this is the ground floor. I think the first floor.
C D
The first floor.
E1 at F. You've placed F3. You placed the column. So F3 here.
Check the first floor. First
Oh,
floor.
okay. Let me check the first one. Like this.
Yeah, that's one.
So there's a column here and a column here. At F3 and F4. F3 here and F4 here. These columns, these are additional columns that you've put, right?
Yes. Because of that extension.
So at F3 you add a column and F4 you add and F.
F for the
Yeah.
yeah, that yeah, yeah.
It doesn't interfere with the window, I know. You placed it by the corner here, right?
Yes.
And also here you placed it there.
And
Mm.
I deleted that column then.
Which on this one?
No, I
This.
mean, no, I maintained it. Yeah.
Which column did you delete?
That one, from Woodland, Woodland 5,
Five H
E5, I think E5.
E5. This
Yes,
one here.
yes.
Oh, let me see. Why did you delete it?
Let me
Oh, this one. So you
yes.
introduced a new one here at F5 also. Let me see. Can it sit at F5 a column? F5 here. Yes, it can sit. So you deleted this and you added one here. How about from there? At D. Oh, you maintain the ones that we did previously at D. D4 and 5. I think we deleted the ones at D4 and 5. Mm. D4 can have, but D5 cannot. Remember D5 we said there was this. Oh, you placed two. Here on the ground floor it can sit, but here on the first floor it will not support the roof. Let's see how your 3D looks like. You understand, right?
Yeah,
Let me check your 3D. On your 3D, it's this one. But anyway, this is good. Good. It shows the omission. Just reply and say thanks. Welcome. Okay, I'll try to review, but I think this is it for this one. Maybe the next thing that we can do is we can try to model it in Revit for general arrangement details.
All right.
Okay, please feel free to make further contributions to this drawing. But I like what you did.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks.
All right. Okay. Some good night.
Alright, good night.